Timothy Kirkhope, the Supreme Court has dismissed these two cases. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm obviously delighted about that. These were pretty serious criminals, and I think that the decision that we took to maintain a position not allowing them to vote was the right one. And of course, that's been now backed up by the Supreme Court itself.
I mean, as we know, the European Court of Human Rights has, however, called on the UK to change the law from a blanket ban. That still stands, doesn't it, that demand from the European Court?
Yes, I don't think it's so much a demand. I think it's certainly a strong recommendation that we change our law. And at the present time, of course, we are looking at it very carefully, and the government is looking carefully at bringing forward some legislation. Some of us have a personal preference in this, in that we think that perhaps minor offences, people who are perhaps dealt with summarily by magistrates' courts and perhaps sent into custody for a very short time, should be perhaps treated rather differently to those who committed felonies, serious crimes, and who are therefore to be incarcerated for a long period of time. I think there may be that kind of difference in any legislation which the government considers, but that's something which they're obviously looking at still now.
The Prime Minister's called this a victory for common sense, but it's still an outstanding, as we've said, still an outstanding ongoing issue. Isn't the reality that the government is going to have to deal with this sooner or later?
Yes, and I don't think they're denying the fact. I mean, that's why we are actually looking at legislation at the moment, possibilities of what we can do. After all, the court has not demanded that we give the right to vote to all prisoners. That was never part of the court's position. The court's position was that actually we should look at the issue and that we should come up with proposals, perhaps of a kind, as I suggest, of differentiating between minor criminals and major criminals and extending voting rights in some areas.